A lot of times we make service extremely welcoming for the lost, demon-possessed, broken, and the service that is not conducive for the Holy Spirit. You must understand, sick people don't go into the hospital so they can get a hug. If I broke my leg, I'm not coming in so the doctor will just love on me. I need him to fix my leg. If somebody steps into the church, they're waiting for some change. And so, and this, what I might present might come off as a little shock. The moment we take away the goodies of the gospel out from the service, the Holy Spirit will leave. We will be left with self-discipline and self-help, and we will not help those people. So this was our approach, and I owe it to my pastor. This was not because I'm such a brilliant pastor or something. It was my pastor's teaching on that. He says, never remove what made Jesus, Jesus, and the church, church. Deliverance of demons, he says, are not to be hidden. Not in some private room on Wednesday night that nobody attends to. Loud prayer are not to be hidden. You're going to freak people out. Do you see what non-Christians watch? That doesn't freak you out? Oh, it's gonna, you know what turns off non-Christians most? Is not that we believe and we practice what we believe. It's when we don't love them. And you can love them without toning down. You can embrace them without watering down. That's been our example. The services where we see the most salvations is a lot of times in the services where God shows up the most. You may say, oh, they're not Christians, they're human. They were made in the image of God. They sense the Spirit of God better than you do. Better than even I do. They feel it, something. They can't explain it. They call it the vibe, they call it the energy, whatever. Sometimes they don't have the terminology for it, but they will feel it. And I do not want to build the church on the cleverness of my wisdom, on my latest coolest revelation or coolest illustration. I can tell you one thing, that could draw the crowd, but that cannot change a person from spiritually dead to being spiritually alive. I can put a suit on a corpse and I can put a perfume on him, but I cannot make him alive through that. And so we have to understand that as we're building churches, as we're designing services, the Holy Spirit has to be the most important guest. And after that, love for people has to emanate. And this approach that, you know, I'm just gonna let God do the work, but we have to allow not only God to do the work, we have to preach the truth. The gospel has to be offensive for people who don't want to change. If Jesus provoked it, my friend, you and I are not better than Jesus. I don't want to be left with the with the form of Christianity that denies its power. Now, this might go contrary to the popular kind of opinion that what is happening with churches today, but Holy Spirit will endorse your ministry. And the best thing that's going to happen is there's going to be conversions happening there. Versus simply people that we have bribed, manipulated into our growth track, next step, membership class, and who honestly, and then we can't drag them to prayer. They'll never fast, they'll never give, they'll never do anything. And then give enough of people like that in the church and then they change the culture. You didn't change the culture, they did. And so now everything you wanted the church to be is not like that. Why? Because we've allowed that thing. And so I want to just encourage and give you the freedom. If you think young people who don't know Christ cannot pray, you are wrong. They can. Starbucks is open at 4:30 in the morning. Who is it open for? Aliens? No, humans. Why is the gyms open at 4 in the morning? And so people who said, I remember when my pastor told me we need to pray like Koreans at 4 o'clock in the morning. I looked at him and I said, are you out of your mind? I was like, I know you probably have a sleep insomnia and everything, but the rest of us, we're completely fine. And he says, Koreans do it. I'm like, Pastor, this is America, this is not Korea. You know, and I was debating with him. And I drove by the gym and went to the gym at 4 in the morning and was shocked. Somehow Americans are like Koreans. Whatever is important to them, they will always prioritize. They forsook about the COVID rules, masks, marched to the streets. Millions of them forgot about their jobs because that's what they believed that happened in America, not in Korea. Don't tell me if people's hearts are not grabbed with gospel that they're not going to be willing to go to the ends of the earth. And so that's been our approach, prayer, fasting, the supernatural, but the core of it, people have to feel and know that they are loved. And they are not coming to church for a pat bag and for just another social thing. They are coming because they want and encounter God, and God needs to change them. Does that mean we force it on them? No, we can't even change ourselves most of the time. We have to rely on God's grace.